Okay, so URSARCTIC is probably one of the most unique decks that has come out in Duel Links recently. The deck revolves around two gimmicks. One of them is that all of their monsters have quick effects that summon themselves from your hand by tributing another URSARCTIC monster from your hand. And the second gimmick is that their synchro monsters synchro summon in a very unique way. It can only be special summoned by sending two monsters you control with a level difference equal to the synchro monster's level. So for example, the level 7 synchros need to have a two monsters with a level difference of 7, and one of them needs to be a non-tuner synchro monster. So we have a level 1 synchro monster, and the way we summon it is just by having a level 7 non-tuner plus a level 8 tuner monster, because that makes a difference of a 7. That makes a difference of 1, so that will allow us to synchro summon the level 1 synchro monster. So let's go over the cards one by one. First of them is one of our level 8 tuners, Mega Polar, has the effect to, of course, during the main phase, as a quick effect, to tribute a level 7 for a higher monster to summon itself from the hand. Also, it locks you into monsters with a level. This effect is common with all of the other URSARCTIC monsters. They all have the same effect to summon themselves from the hand during the main phase as a quick effect. If this card is special summoned while you control another URSARCTIC monster, you can pop a spell or trap your opponent controls. For our second level 8 tuner, we have Discard. Discard can again summon itself from your hand by attributing a monster, and Megatonus can flip a opponent's monster face down when it is special summoned when you have another monster on your field. So even though this is a quick effect, you still need another URSARCTIC monster on your field for this effect to actually trigger. Main Searcher is Mikpolar. This is a level 7 non-tuner, and when it is a special summon, you add a URSARCTIC monster from your deck to your hand. Megabilis, I think. Megabilis is a level 8 tuner, and when it's special summoned, when you control another URSARCTIC monster, you target a card in your opponent's graveyard and banish that card. Megabilis is a level 7 non-tuner. When it's special summoned, you can special summon a URSARCTIC monster from your hand. And that special summon will trigger their on-summon effects. And finally is the final level 7 non-tuner monster, Mectanus. When it is special summoned, you can recycle a URSARCTIC monster from your graveyard and add it back to your hand. And for our spell lineup, we are playing one copy of URSARCTIC Departure. This is the best searcher in our deck. It is a spell and it's an ultra rare, so we're only playing one copy because it is a free-to-play version. We discard a card and add 2 URSARCTIC monsters from your deck to your hand. And also, if you would tribute a monster to activate an URSARCTIC monster's effect, except return it is sent to your graveyard, you can banish this card instead. And because your monsters all tribute another monster to actually summon themselves, you will lose out on a lot of card advantage. So this search spell will help with that. Super rare URSARCTIC spell, URSARCTIC Radiation. It is really crazy. This card allows us to basically draw 7 cards. When you activate this card, you place 7 counters on top of it, and every time you special summon an URSARCTIC monster from your hand or extra deck, you draw a card and remove a counter. So, because every time you summon a URSARCTIC, you are tributing a card from your hand, this will help you regain that lost advantage by just giving you a free draw every single time you do it, and it's not once per turn. And what is once per turn is, once per turn during the end phase, you could recycle a URSARCTIC monster, it's a card actually, it's a card from your graveyard and shuffle it back to the deck. And also you only can control one of this card on your field. Next up is our main field spell, URSARCTIC Big Dipper. It's searchable with our Synchro monster. Once per turn, when your URSARCTIC monster would tribute a monster to activate its effect, you could banish a level 7 or higher URSARCTIC monster from your graveyard instead. And that is an alternative way for you to actually summon your URSARCTICs without needing to tribute another monster in your hand, which can be quite costly. Each time a monster is special summoned, you place a counter, and also if a monster is special summoned and you control an URSARCTIC monster, an URSARCTIC synchro monster, actually, you can remove all counters at minimum 7 and just steal one of your opponent's monsters. So this is another disruption on top of the Book of Moon effect of our Megatonus and the negate effect of synchro monster that we will talk about later. We have 3 copies of URSARCTIC Slider. This is our Reborn spell. It is a quick play and also summons from the Banished pile as well. And also it locks you into monsters with a level for the rest of the turn, which is not a problem in this deck because we are playing all URSARCTIC cards. We're not playing any other stuff other than URSARCTIC cards because we don't really have the space for that in this free-to-play version. And finally, we have a single copy of the URSARCTIC Trap, the Trap card. It is a continuous trap, and once per turn you can pay 700 life points and activate one of the following effects. You could add an URSARCTIC monster from your graveyard to your hand, or tribute 2 URSARCTIC monsters, even if face down, and special summon from your extra deck 1 URSARCTIC monster with a level equal to the difference of the levels of those monsters, and ignore their summoning conditions. So this basically allows you to synchro summon during your opponent's turn, which will be useful to trigger some of your synchro monsters on summon effects. And for our extra deck, we're only playing 3 cards. We're playing the level 7 Septentrion, Grand Chariot, and Polari. So Polari is our main extender. It cannot be synchro summoned and it must be special summoned by just having 2 monsters with a level difference of 1 and 1 tuner and 1 non-tuner. And if this card is special summoned, you can activate the field spell directly from your deck, and also you can tribute 1 level summon a higher monster and add to your hand or special summon 1 URSARCTIC monster from your graveyard. And since you will always have the field spell when this effect activates, you could just banish 1 monster from your graveyard and then just revive one of your level 8 tuners and immediately make one of your level 7 synchro monsters. And also birth effects are hard once per turn. Next is URSARCTIC Grand Chariot. This is our main turn 2 option. If our opponent has cards on their field, you will want to make this card, because this card, when it is special summoned, you can target up to 2 other cards on the field and destroy them. Also, once per turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets an URSARCTIC monster, URSARCTIC card you control, actually, as a quick effect, you can attribute a monster from your hand or field and negate the activation. And finally, this is our turn 1 option. Septentrion has an effect that negates all the effects of face-up monsters that do not have a level. Those include Xyz monsters and Link monsters, so it's really good in this meta specifically, because Orcust, Raging Pendulum, those make Xyz monsters which don't have a level. And if your opponent special summons a monster, except during your damage step, you can add 1 URSARCTIC card from your deck to your hand. And because all of your URSARCTIC monsters have quick effects, you can basically immediately use them whenever you want to. For our skill, we're playing Baggy Sleeves because all of our monsters are level 7 or higher. So when they are destroyed by battle during your next draw phase, you can draw 2 cards, and that also helps by just having more card advantage and more monsters for your URSARCTIC monsters to actually tribute for cost. I don't actually have cards for the expensive version, but for the expensive version, it will be really similar to the free-to-play version, because we really don't want to play any other non-URSARCTIC cards, because we always want more cards for our monsters to actually tribute, otherwise it will be very easy to break. The main difference will be we will be playing 3 copies of URSARCTIC Departure and 3 copies of URSARCTIC Radiation, and we will remove some copies of Slider and maybe even the Trap. So because the Search spell and Radiation is the 2 main ways that the deck can just regain the advantage that it loses by tributing all the monsters from your hand. So yeah, you will be adding more copies of both of those spells if you have more of them. And the extra deck will probably be exactly the same, because we can't play links because they don't have a level, and our monsters lock us from monsters that don't have a level. So yeah, that will be it. So, one of the main advantages of this deck is, of course, all of your monsters are quick effects. So, even during your first turn, all of your URSARCTIC monsters are basically hand traps. One of them is even a Book of Moon, and one of them is a MST, and one of them is a DD Crow. But all three of them have the drawback that you must also control another URSARCTIC monster for their effect to actually be activatable. So you will need a minimum of 3 cards for that to actually work. Three of your monsters. So for example, you will be summoning a copy of Mikpola, and that will get us another monster, and the monster that we get will be tributed to summon copy of the Book of Moon or the copy of the MST, and that will be able to disrupt our opponent. So that is a really resource extensive combo. You're losing on 3 cards to have a quick effect during your opponent's first turn to perhaps book one of their monsters, but that might be worth it if that stops their entire turn. And also you get 2 monsters on your field, which you can use during your next turn to make your synchro monsters. And one of the biggest drawbacks, as you can probably tell, is this deck loses a lot in card advantage. So if you don't draw URSARCTIC Radiation, or if you don't have the search spell, all of the times you will find yourself losing in a lot of resources because all of your monsters tribute from your hand. And also, the deck doesn't really have a lot of other disruption methods other than your Megatonus, and it is a hard one. It is a hard once per turn, and also it doesn't work against link monsters. So your main way of disrupting your opponent is that Book of Moon effect and your negate from your synchro, which can be prevented easily because you can't play lands. There isn't a lot of room for lands, and also your opponent can just Book of Moon your synchro monster. And also your synchro monsters are very difficult to summon. Every of your level 7 synchro monsters require you to have the Polari plus another level 8 synchro, level 8 tuner to actually summon, so it is quite hard once your opponent gets it off your field. And also, you can't just revive Polari with, let's say, your quick play spell, because those synchro monsters can only be special summoned by their own methods. So yeah, without the radiations or the departures, the deck really has a hard time to recover if your opponent breaks your board. But this deck is still pretty fun to play, and hand trapping your opponent during their first turn is still pretty funny. So let's have a look at the replays. Okay, in our first replay, we are playing against Yuya, and we are going second. This is not a very good sign. Our opponent is, in fact, playing Raging Pendulum, but we do have quick effects, so we can make use of that. We have a whole hand of URSARCTIC monsters, which is actually a good thing if we go first. That means we have monsters for effects to tribute during our opponent's main phase to actually stop our opponent from making their plays. They're going to set skills, and they're going to activate their skill, and because they activated Pendulum Call, it actually prevents them from using the effect of Wisdom Eye to pop itself, which is pretty funny. So that means they can't actually pendulum summon monsters with a level lower than 5. So they're only forced to make level 7 monsters, and now it's time for our monsters to activate their quick effects. We're gonna special summon Mikpola, which searches us the Book of Moon. Megatonus will activate its effect to flip opponent's monster face down, so they can't make a rank 7. And now during our turn, we can use the 2 monsters that we summoned to make the level 1 synchro. It will grab us a field spell, we'll activate the effect of Megatonus, and grab back the Megatonus. And our synchro will activate the effect using the field spell to banish from a graveyard instead of actually tributing a monster. We'll make the level 7 synchro that negates his Xyz monster's effects, because those don't have a level. He will get a Dragon Pulse to pop our synchro, which is a bit unfortunate. Our opponent will flip summon back the Odd Eyes, we will flip it back down, and because we have the field spell, we can banish for graveyard for cost, instead of actually tributing a monster. And because they attack over one of our monsters, we can draw 2 cards with our skill during the draw phase. And now we'll just use the effects of our McPolar to search more cards. We'll use the slider to revive one of our banished monsters. We'll use the Megapolar to pop his scales. We'll use the level 7 and the level 8 tuner. And since we have 7 counters, we can actually steal our opponent's monster, and he is going to scoop from here. Okay, this is the second game, and this time we are going first. Actually, we do prefer going first, especially if we have one of the 2 really powerful spells, and we have one of them. We have Departure. This allows us to grab 2 monsters from our deck. We're going to grab a Megapolar, which will give us another search. We're gonna search one of our level 7 non-tuners, which we will summon and grab back a monster from the graveyard. And then we will activate the Quick Play to revive a level 8 tuner so we can actually make the level 1 Synchro monster. We'll activate the Field Spell from deck, and a Synchro monster will be reviving one of our level 8 tuners to make the level 7 Synchro monster and end turn. Our opponent will special summon the Gizmek, which is a problem because it will remove our Synchro monster, so we will be summoning our Megatonus before he activates his effect to flip it face down. And then he's gonna normal summon a monster and reveal that he is playing Crusadia. That's wonderful because those monsters don't have a level. But unfortunately though, they do have an out to our Synchro monster and they will use it right now. But before our Synchro monster actually leaves the field, we are managed to negate his Link 1, which prevents him from getting a search, which is pretty nice. He will still be able to make the new Link 2 from the box and grab a Crusadia spell trap from the deck. He will do just that, grabbing Crusadia power, and then he's going to link the 2 monsters off to make the link-free Crusadia Equimax. And he's gonna attack over our monster, and you know what that means, we're gonna draw 2 cards. And since we searched Radiation last turn, we could just combo off and not worry about not having enough cards to attribute. We will first summon the Megapolar to grab us something else, and we will draw a card off of Radiation. We'll Megapolar to summon itself and pop one of our opponent's back row. We're gonna Radiation again, and our opponent has seen enough. Okay, for our third game, we are also going second, and that means we might be able to activate some quick effects before our opponent makes their play. But unfortunately, we do not have enough monsters this time. We only have 2, which we could summon Megapolar, but it won't be able to pop a trap because it requires another URSARCTIC to actually use the spell trap effect. But we do have Radiation, so I'm feeling pretty confident, and our opponent doesn't seem to have infinite light, so it is very winnable. And especially because we have Radiation, we can just draw a whole bunch of cards, and we also have the double search, which is just wonderful. We will be doing our combo, activating Megapolar to search a monster, and drawing a card with Radiation. We're gonna special summon the Megatonus to also recycle a card from the graveyard. Radiation will again draw us a card. We're just gaining a whole bunch of card advantage at this point. We're gonna summon the level 8 tuner. Radiation will draw us a card, and the level 8 tuner will be flipping our opponent's monster face down so we can actually destroy it, because Time Waltz cannot be destroyed by card effects when they are face up. Anyway, we'll make the level 1 synchro, grab our field spell, summon the Megapolar to pop his trap, but the trap cannot be destroyed once per turn, so he will not be destroyed, but we will destroy it a second time using the effect of Grand Chariot. We will destroy both his Time Lord plus his Infinite Machine, and this time the Infinite Machine will be destroyed. We will activate Quick Play to summon back a monster because why not, and set 2 and attack for lethal.